As April unfolds and the NBA regular season nears its end, the Golden State Warriors are showing clear signs that they are still very much alive in the fight. The California team, boasting a solid record of 47 wins and 33 losses, proves that there's still fuel left in the tank and no intention of stopping anytime soon. The farewell against the Los Angeles Clippers at the close of the regular season won't be the end of the road. On the contrary, it might just be the beginning of an even more intense journey. Even though the team is dangerously close to the play-in qualification zone, the expectations surrounding the Warriors' playoff performance are palpable. There's a feeling in the air that this group might surprise, maybe even win one or two playoff series, recalling the competitive DNA that has defined the franchise over the past decade. But beyond what might happen on the court in the coming weeks, there's a growing buzz off the court. A rumor that, if it comes true, could completely change the landscape of the next season. A speculation involving a familiar face for fans, the possible return of Kevin Durant to the Bay Area. Seth Quinn, a columnist for Newsweek, reignited fans' imagination by suggesting that point guard Stephen Curry and the Warriors' front office might be considering bringing back the star who shone from 2016 to 2019 wearing the team's jersey. According to Quinn, reuniting Curry and Durant once again would be an ideal way to make the most of the final high-level years of number 30. The idea revolves around maximizing the remaining time in the championship window that is still open for the team's leader. And let's face it, if there's one thing Durant knows how to do, it's change the course of the NBA when he decides to switch team. From the analyst's perspective, even after a trade that brought Jimmy Butler to San Francisco, there are still valuable pieces on the roster that could be used in potential deals. Young talents with room to grow and experienced players who, together, could form an extremely competitive core around the team's veteran stars. The major challenge, however, lies in the financial aspect. Durant's contract is hefty, to say the least. To fit his salary under the cap, the franchise would have to let go of key players. Butler would likely be one of the sacrifices, as well as Draymond Green, a defensive anchor and vocal leader in the locker room. It's a tough decision, one that could have major repercussions. But if the front office manages to find a way around this hurdle and keep at least one of those leaders, the team would instantly become one of the league's most dangerous contenders next season. A mix of experience, offensive skill, and hunger for titles that few rosters could match. It's worth remembering that in the 2016 offseason, Durant caused a real earthquake in the NBA landscape when he left the Oklahoma City Thunder for the Warriors after his team had blown a 3-1 lead precisely against Golden State in the Western Conference Finals. The decision, heavily criticized at the time, was seen by many as a cowardly move, but Durant was unfazed. Ignoring the outside noise, he integrated into the star-studded roster and quickly showed why he was one of the most lethal players in the NBA. In 3 seasons wearing the blue and gold uniform, he won 2 championships and took home the Finals MVP award in both victories. More than just padding his resume, he left an indelible mark on the franchise's history. After leaving for the Brooklyn Nets, Durant had a turbulent stint that lasted about 2.5 years. In 2023, he ended up on the Phoenix Suns midway through the season, forming a new super team alongside names like Devin Booker and Bradley Beal. On paper, a fearsome squad. In practice, the results fell short of expectations. Despite his numbers remaining impressive, Durant continues to be a scoring machine. The Suns' collective performance hasn't matched the veteran's individual output. This raises legitimate doubts about the continuation of the partnership. And more than that, it opens the door for speculation about his future. With the off-season approaching, the possibility of Durant seeking a new home is gaining traction. And if there's one place where he once shined brightly, it's San Francisco. There, he knows the path to victory. There, he has already won. And perhaps there, he could end his career in grand fashion. Both Durant and Curry are heading toward the final stages of their NBA journeys. Neither has many peak years left. That's why it would be both logical and symbolic for them to make one more run at the title together. One last flight in a Warriors jersey. A triumphant farewell, hopefully with another Larry O'Brien trophy. Although Durant has previously stated that he wouldn't be interested in reuniting with the California team, Golden State remains watchful. The obsession with reassembling the offensive juggernaut that terrorized the league from 2016 to 2019 still lingers behind the scenes. And as long as there's a chance, however small, the franchise's front office is likely to keep trying. The desire to build one last super team revolves not only around athletic glory, but also legacy. Curry and Durant are two of the most influential players of their generation. Their careers are already Hall of Fame bound, but the chance to close this chapter side by side might be something neither of them is willing to ignore entirely. Kevin Durant's potential return to the franchise he helped dominate the NBA with for years wouldn't just be a strategic move. It would be a gesture filled with symbolism, a clear attempt to revive the winning spirit that defined an era. After all, while the Warriors still boast a competent veteran core, time is catching up. The clock is ticking, and every season matters more than ever. Curry, though still playing at an elite level, knows the window of opportunity won't stay open for long. His off-ball movement remains a devastating weapon. His game IQ, vision, and shooting accuracy force any defense to reorganize its entire strategy just to try to contain him. But even a legend like him needs support, someone to carry part of the burden, someone who can take over in decisive moments, someone like Kevin Durant. In practice, reuniting these two stars would have an immediate impact in any playoff matchup. Defenses couldn't focus solely on Curry. Durant, with his range, wingspan, and ability to create his own shot, would demand constant attention. This would open up opportunities for other teammates, especially young players like Jonathan Kuminga, who has been standing out throughout the season. Even veterans like Andrew Wiggins could benefit from less offensive pressure. The narrative of such a reunion would also carry emotional weight. It would be the story of two superstars who met at their peak, went down different paths, matured, and now find themselves together again in the twilight of their careers, with one last shared goal: to lift another trophy. It would be a poetic closing to a cycle that still echoes in the memories of fans. But for this to happen, the front office will need to be bold. Bold moves have never been an issue for the Warriors' front office, which has proven it's willing to make unpopular decisions if it means a real shot at a title. Durant's arrival, however, would require more than just courage. It would demand skill in working the numbers and crafting deals that don't dismantle the team's core. One of the dilemmas lies precisely in the impact it could have inside the locker room. Draymond Green, for instance, is more than just a player. He's a vocal leader, a symbol of the franchise's defensive identity. Removing him from the equation could mean losing the emotional engine that drives the team. On the other hand, keeping him in a scenario where Durant returns would require maturity from both sides, considering their history of conflict. This dilemma is real, but not insurmountable. Time tends to heal wounds, and the desire to win can serve as a bridge to reconciliation. Durant, if he agrees to come back, would have to show a willingness to let go of the past. And Green, known for his blunt honesty, would also need to understand what's at stake. After all, not everyone gets the chance to be part of a legendary team twice in the same career. Meanwhile, the reality of the Phoenix Suns is under scrutiny. Durant, while putting up impressive numbers with the Arizona team, sees the inconsistency of the project undermining his chances of success. The trio formed by him, Devin Booker, and Bradley Beal has yet to deliver the dominant performance that was expected. The fit appears problematic. The lack of depth in the roster, combined with defensive limitations, exposes the team's weaknesses in key games. Given this scenario, it wouldn't be surprising to see Durant seeking a change. And if he's looking for stability, a winning tradition, and a trusted partner, there's no better option than returning to where he once found happiness. The Golden State Warriors offer all of that, and more. The fan base, in turn, lives in a mix of nostalgia and anticipation. The years of dominance are still alive in the collective memory, and the thought of reliving that is almost irresistible. Durant's return would be like reopening a chapter of a book that seemed to have ended, a chapter with golden pages, filled with historic moments, flawless performances, and unforgettable finals. And if we consider the impact across the entire league, KD's return to the Warriors would drastically shift the NBA landscape. Once again, the spotlight would shine on San Francisco. Social media would explode with analysis, criticism, and comparisons. Rivals would begin re-evaluating their own rosters. The 2025-26 season would automatically become one of the most highly anticipated in recent history. However, until that possibility materializes, the Warriors have an immediate goal: stay alive in the playoffs. The current squad, even without major reinforcements, has shown competitiveness. The mix of youth and experience has worked in many moments, and if consistency shows up in the postseason, anything can happen. The coaching staff knows this. Steve Kerr, a master at getting the best out of his players, understands that chemistry is the key to success. And it's precisely this chemistry that could be the trump card if Durant decides to return. He already knows the system. The adaptation would be almost immediate. And more than that, the mutual respect between him and Curry could be the foundation for a new era of glory. As speculation builds, behind-the-scenes moves are likely to remain discreet. No one wants to show their cards too early. But the signs are there. The interest exists. The scenario makes sense. And the motivation, both from Durant and the Warriors, might be greater than many imagine. In the end, it's not just about bringing back a star. It's about rebuilding a winning identity, about chasing a lasting legacy. It's about proving that the spirit of the dynasty still beats, still dreams, still fights. And who knows, still wins. While the public's eyes are fixed on the results on the court, the real chess match is being played behind the scenes. The Golden State Warriors front office understands that this is one of the last real chances to fully capitalize on the final years of Stephen Curry as the undisputed leader of the franchise. In this context, bringing a talent like Kevin Durant back to the Bay Area wouldn't just be a luxury, it would be a strategic necessity. The team's future doesn't rest solely in the hands of promising youngsters or the fighting spirit of the veterans. It lies, above all, in the ability to make tough decisions with courage and vision. In recent seasons, the front office has shown that it's willing to experiment, adjust, and even make mistakes if it means keeping the team relevant. The signing of Durant in 2016 was the greatest example of that bold mindset, and perhaps now it's time to repeat the dose. Durant's potential return would inevitably require a roster reshuffle. That includes rethinking contracts, letting go of established names, and maybe even sacrificing a bit of the identity that made Golden State so respected. But the trade-off would be powerful. A concrete shot at competing for a title again, a chance to end the Curry era on a high note, worthy of the greatness he has built over nearly 2 decades. Another factor that strengthens this narrative is the duo's history of success. When they played together, Curry and Durant showed a rare chemistry between superstars. Contrary to what many expected, there were no ego clashes or conflicts over who would be the main man. On the contrary, the two complemented each other on the court, opening up space, drawing double teams, and turning every possession into a real threat for any opponent. Durant found comfort in the Warriors' fluid style of play, a system based on off-ball movement, intelligent passing, and collective awareness. It was the perfect environment for him to showcase his talent without having to carry the burden of the outcome alone. And Curry, in turn, shone even brighter with a teammate who demanded so much attention from opposing defenses. It was an almost mathematical balance, a spectacle to watch. Those moments still live on in the fans' minds, who now cling to every sign, every rumor, hoping to relive that unique feeling of invincibility. A possible return of Durant would rekindle that feeling, while also creating a new layer of history. Redemption, resurgence, the last dance of a duo that already made history, and might make more. Meanwhile, the current season is still underway, and the Warriors have urgent matters to address. The play-in is just around the corner, and the battle in the West is intense. Every win counts, every mistake weighs. The margin for error is minimal, and the team needs to be fully focused if they want to make noise in the postseason. Even so, long-term planning is already happening behind the scenes. The front office knows it can no longer rely solely on hopes of internal development. While names like Moses Moody and Kuminga have shown growth, there is still a long way to go before they can carry the responsibility of leading the franchise. And in the meantime, the present demands immediate answers. In this context, Durant emerges as the perfect piece to bridge the gap between a victorious past and a still promising future. He represents the link between two eras. It wouldn't be a simple return. It would be a complete reconfiguration of the franchise's ambition. But all of this depends on multiple factors. Beyond the will of the front office and the fans' desire, Durant also has to see meaning in this return. And although he's made it clear in the past that he had no plans to come back, the scenario has changed. The frustration with the Suns could shift his perspective. The instability in Phoenix, coupled with recent postseason disappointments, could lead him to rethink his priorities. Durant is, above all, a competitor. He wants to win. He wants to prove that he can still be the difference maker on a championship team. And if there's a structure already in place for that, a place where he doesn't have to carry everything alone, where there's a reliable system and a winning culture, that place is Golden State. In the meantime, the fans are living in anticipation. Social media is buzzing with theories, simulations, and hypothetical trades. Analysts are debating possibilities. As always, the NBA's behind-the-scenes action is just as thrilling as the game itself, and all of this further fuels the atmosphere of expectation surrounding the franchise. Stephen Curry, for his part, continues to lead on and off the court. His demeanor, his example, and his persistence serve as a beacon for the entire roster. He doesn't make public demands. He doesn't ask for reinforcements in interviews, but it's evident that he wants to compete, and that he would love to have a partner like Durant by his side in this new mission. If the reunion happens, it would carry deep emotional weight. It would mark the return not just of a player, but of an era. It would be a chance to rewrite the ending of a partnership that, despite its success, was cut short. And now, with maturity, new contexts, and new goals, it could get a second chance. More than a market move, it would be a clear message to the entire league. The Warriors are not ready to say goodbye. They still have plans, they still have ambition, and they still believe that the best may be yet to come. When Kai returned to the court, it wasn't just another ordinary comeback. It was a clear demonstration of growth, maturity, and technical excellence, firmly establishing his name as one of the leading figures in Asian basketball. In the recent matchup against the Kyoto Haneras, he showed more than talent. He showed leadership and consistency. With 20 points, 4 rebounds, and 3 assists, the young star dominated the game in a way even the most seasoned players didn't expect. From the opening whistle, it was evident that Kai was operating on a different level. He asserted himself in the paint like few can, using his privileged height and surprising mobility for someone his size. The opposition tried, but couldn't find answers to stop Kai's dominant presence, whether it was through drives to the basket, accurate mid-range shots, or defensive switches. His shooting accuracy was one of the highlights of the game. More than just making shots, Kai demonstrated sharp technical control, the result of rigorous training and a constant desire for improvement. His refined touch contrasted with the aggressiveness with which he attacked the basket, throwing off the opposing defense. In high-pressure moments, when the game seemed to get complicated, Kai went beyond his technical duties. He took on the responsibility like a true leader on the court. In the third quarter, he delivered one of the most iconic plays of the match. He dribbled past 2 defenders with an elegant fake, made a precise layup, and converted the free throw after being fouled. That moment not only electrified the crowd, but symbolized his ability to deliver when it matters most. And if there's one thing that separates good players from the greats, it's how they handle crucial moments. Kai, despite being young, already shows a level-headedness and decision-making ability that few athletes develop so early in their careers. His game reading is sharp, his off-ball movement is smart, and his way of involving teammates is strategic. But the spotlight on him isn't just because of this last performance. Kai has been building, brick by brick, a solid path in the B-League. With only 76 points to go before reaching the 1,000-point mark in the competition, He's about to join a select group of players who show offensive consistency season after season. And it doesn't stop there. The young player has already surpassed the impressive milestone of 500 rebounds, establishing himself as a physical presence on both ends of the court. Moreover, he is just a few steps away from yet another achievement, reaching 100 assists in the league. For a player in his position, that says a lot about his court vision and playmaking ability. He doesn't limit himself to scoring. He contributes to offensive setups, reads his teammates' movements, and anticipates plays, acting almost like a disguised point guard. These numbers speak for themselves, but they don't capture everything Kai represents. In every game, he brings a different energy, an impact that transcends the cold statistical data. His presence changes the game's dynamic, demands constant defensive attention, and raises the collective performance of his team. Few players can influence a game so directly and indirectly at the same time. Commentators and analysts already point out, Kai is not just a promising talent. He's a player who could redefine the competitive level of the B-League and in the future make history in other leagues around the world. His presence on the court is reminiscent of the great big men of the past, but with a modern, multifunctional twist. In a way, he is a bridge between classic and contemporary basketball. And when it comes to his next step, the inevitable question arises. Which NBA team would be the perfect fit for his playing style? The most commonly heard answer among experts and fans is nearly unanimous: Golden State Warriors. And it seems the Californian franchise's fan base has already adopted Kai as a collective desire. Social media campaigns call for his signing, while videos of his plays go viral among NBA fans. The reason for this enthusiasm is clear. The Warriors, with their system based on constant movement, quick passes, and long-range shooting, are looking for new balance. The current roster lacks pieces that bring defensive consistency in the paint, reliable rebounding, and physical presence, all of which Kai has in abundance. His height, combined with a refined game IQ, would bring a new dimension to the team. Moreover, his experience in international basketball is a valuable asset. Kai has faced opponents of various styles and tactical cultures, adapting to different contexts with speed and efficiency. That international repertoire would make him a low-risk, high-upside addition for the Warriors. What's even more impressive, however, is his mentality. Kai is not just a talented player. He's a competitor, someone who understands the challenges and demands of the NBA and is willing to work relentlessly to improve. His ability to handle pressure and stay focused in decisive moments sets him apart from many young players with similar talent. Behind the scenes, there is a clear expectation that his arrival could represent a new chapter for the Warriors. While still competitive, the team is going through a transition period and needs reinforcements who bring not just technical ability, but also a hunger for victory. Kai could be that new fuel, the fresh element that revitalizes the roster and injects renewed motivation. For fans, imagining Kai wearing the blue and gold jersey isn't just about expectations, it's a tangible hope. The idea of a player with his versatility integrating into such a dynamic offensive system like the Warriors sounds like the perfect recipe for success. And as his popularity continues to grow, it's becoming harder to ignore the public appeal for his NBA arrival. More than stats or individual plays, Kai represents a modern playing style and a growth-oriented mindset. He's the kind of athlete who elevates the standard around him and who could, over time, become a key piece in any franchise. In today's B-League landscape, few players show such dominance and versatility. Kai doesn't just score points or grab rebounds, he transforms the game around him. It's this ability to make a difference that puts him on the radar of elite teams and makes the Warriors a potential ideal home for his NBA journey. Kai's journey so far has been marked by hard work, dedication, and an unrelenting desire to reach the top. He's not just trying to play well, he's aiming to be remembered. And everything points to that goal being increasingly within his reach. Before we get started, go ahead and drop a like on this video because it really helps our channel keep bringing you high-quality content. And if you're new here, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss any updates from the basketball world. Turn on the notification bell because we've got new videos coming every week with all the behind-the-scenes action, analysis, and rumors that every true fan wants to know. Now let's jump into the video because today's topic is on fire.